Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, and today we are going to be looking at an updated forecast for the election as Kamala Harris has now picked Tim Walz to be the Democrat vice presidential nominee, and we even see that on Wikipedia. The page is essentially complete, having both of the candidates' main pages on the electoral vote map now, and we clearly see that new civic approval ratings for Kamala Harris have came out, which have updated the model, as well as a new demographic model I have implemented as well. And we're kind of going to be breaking down what this means for the election, so make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And so the former president is now winning 312 electoral college votes to 226, but something very notable is that all the traditional swing states are now all below 5 percentage points. As you all know, if you have been subscribed for a while, and for those who don't know, if you're just new to the channel, I was actually predicting a blowout election for Donald Trump against Joe Biden with the same model. We see this is the election map that I basically had for that matchup, with Donald Trump getting 347 electoral college votes and Joe Biden to 191. And funny enough, actually, if you would have used the approval rating data, obviously I've kind of revised the model a bit to use the approval ratings instead of polling data, but the approval ratings are actually more accurate than any state polls you would have ever had in 2020. The model for 2020 actually improved once I incorporated the approval ratings, and so this should give an even more accurate result than what was even before. But when I basically created the approval rating model for this is basically what it shows for that election, with Donald Trump getting 347 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 191 electoral college votes. And we clearly see that now this is a much more competitive race, with states like New York that Democrats had concerns of losing are not even in the likely Democrat column. Connecticut, Rhode Island are now back in that safe column, as well as California and Hawaii. Washington and Oregon are pretty close to being safe, and even Colorado is as well. Virginia is like a 7-point win for Kamala Harris. New Jersey's like an 11-point victory for Harris now. And we see states like Minnesota, New Mexico, Nebraska, and Maine. They are not in the likely Democrat column, but they are still, at least a, higher single-digit margins. We can actually see here, if we go to a state like New Mexico, it's a 4.7 percentage point margin. Minnesota about 3.7. Nebraska second, around 3.6%. Maine at large, 3.3. So none of those deep blue states from 2020 like you see here, where Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, Maine at large, New Hampshire, they're all likely margins of victory. And we see the former president is winning the popular vote essentially by half a point. So now the nationwide popular vote is kind of shifting by about 4 points, but we still see Donald Trump is winning Wisconsin by 3.9, Pennsylvania by 3.6, Nevada by 4.4, North Carolina by 6.4. He's still winning Georgia by 2 and winning Arizona by 3.6. 3.6 in Arizona is even greater than Trump's margin was in the 2016 election. Nevada would be Trump's best performance there. Michigan 1.9%. That would be Trump's best performance there, as well as Pennsylvania 3.6 and Wisconsin 3.9. Those would be the best performances that the former president has ever put. Now, the election is now officially within the margin of error, as some of these states are within 3.5 points now, and some states could go either way. And so from somebody that was saying, guys, you need to pay attention to the data, the former president would have beaten Joe Biden in a landslide. And, it's very apparent, because if this would have even been close to this, we would have not had Joe Biden drop out of the race like we saw the other day. Clearly, there was a huge problem that the Democrats realized, and that I realized, and most of the mainstream media was not really picking up on. Yes, people were saying, oh, this is looking bad, but not to the point where they thought Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, New Hampshire, and Maine were going to be toss-ups. But it seems to me that the race is narrowed up, and yes, a lot of polls are oversampling Harris to an extent, but she's also caught up in favorabilities by quite a bit, to the point where even the model is saying, okay, at this point, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Trump's still winning them by pretty decent margins. The only state he actually underperforms in since 2016 is Georgia, because that state's been trending to the left. But basically everywhere else, he does better, and he does better in almost every single state compared to 2020. All of the states on the map would be shifting to the right regardless if this were to even be the map or not. He still improves, and he's still the victor in the Electoral College regardless, and so the former president is still the favorite to win the election, and he is still winning the national popular vote here as well by around half a point. So we're looking at a 4-point shift nationwide now, which explains why you see Arizona kind of move, to the left by a point, trending at least to the left. Georgia trends 2 points in this forecast here. Michigan kind of trends a couple points to the left. Wisconsin actually trends like about a half a point to the left, and Pennsylvania actually doesn't really trend anywhere. I think it may actually even trend half a point Republican this cycle. Virginia trends a point Democrat here. We see Oregon's kind of trending, a little bit to the left as well as Washington in this scenario. New York does trend about a 2 to 3 points to the right here because it was a 23-point victory in the last cycle, and if the margin shifts by 4 nationwide, you would see a 19-point victory if it wasn't trending to the right, but clearly it is a 16-point win, so that is definitely shifting. So is New Jersey. New Hampshire's kind of trending to the left by 2 points. New Mexico is also actually trending to the right because this was a 10.8 percentage point win last time, and so clearly there is a huge shift here. There's about a 2-point trend to the right. Minnesota actually is basically not even really trending anywhere. It's around the same as Nebraska. And the way I like this, the reason why I like this model so much is because it's a dynamic model to where the trends don't stay exactly the same. Like as the model updates and we get new data, the state trends actually change because you can't assume that the state trend is going to be consistent the entire cycle. That kind of gets you trapped into a logic of thinking. And states like Iowa and Ohio may not even be in the safe column anymore. Ohio exactly 15, and Iowa is just barely at 15.1%. So these states might be joining the likely Republican column once again very soon. Even South Carolina is a 16.5-point victory. That might be joining that very soon. We even see, if we keep looking here, Kansas is a 17-point victory as well. Maine's second is now in the likely column, but Maine's first is now in the safe column. I forgot to put that there. So that is also now safe. So Harris at 125 safe electoral votes. And Washington is almost in the safe column, as well as Delaware. So if she keeps getting in the national aggregate, you are going to see more safe blue states being added to the column as time goes on as well. But the former president, once again, guys, is still winning fairly easily. If you look at the last election, he gained a lot in Hispanic America, Southern Florida, South Texas, he gained in a lot of places in, certain rural parts, but did a little bit worse in some places. But I don't think Harris is going to be popular enough to capitalize on the Joe Biden momentum that he had in 2020. You even see Trump improved in most rural counties in that last cycle, and so that's why you're kind of seeing this shift. Really, all the big blue shifts mainly came from suburban areas, as you can see here in Georgia, Kentucky, Virginia, Indiana, Michigan, and some of the Rust Belt. You saw, Biden gain a lot in northeastern Pennsylvania as well, and in the eastern part of the state in general. But Harris is not going to have that much of an appeal there. California, you saw a couple places shift to the left, but certain other places were kind of trending to the right as well. Even Los Angeles actually moved 5 points to the right from the previous cycle, and I'm actually going to expect that to probably even be like only a 30-point margin for Harris in the next election. That's definitely going to be very interesting. You saw, Colorado was just a complete shift to the left. Arkansas and a lot of these states were shifting to the right as well. Appalachia continues to move to the right, and I expect it to continue to move to the right as well. Now, I think Harris is going to stunt some of the suburban trends due to her being an extremely far left candidate. I don't really think that is going to appeal a lot to certain American voters, and that's why you're going to see Trump more than likely flip back the Rust Belt and flip Nevada as well as Arizona and Georgia in this election as of right now. But the race is starting to get complacent, so for either side, if you want your vote to count, you have to go out there and vote. But this is basically what we're seeing in the Electoral College in the latest model I have constructed for the 2024 presidential election. And so make sure to go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy content just like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.